An overhead squat really is one of the key indicators of how well you're moving. It's going to show me how well you're moving your ankles, knees, hips, so your lower half, what we call triple flexion, right? It's also going to show me how well your spine is moving, how well your shoulders are moving, how tight you are across the chest, how tight your lats are. So really, they've broken it down to 75% of how you move can be assessed through your overhead squat. Okay, and many of you that do overhead squats, like in our warm-ups and stuff like that, you feel that tightness. You feel like you're being restricted at some level, right? For me, it's generally more in the upper half. I'm feeling more restricted in my shoulders and my lats and things like that. But I will say that my lower half does have an impact. So what we're going to do, the framework of this workshop essentially is to use the overhead squat regularly through this assessment and to feel the differences, how it feels from the beginning and then step by step through this process. And this is going to give you an indicator of where some of your, what I would call boulders are. I'm not looking for pebbles, I'm looking for boulders. I'm looking for the 2-3 areas that are going to have the most impact in how you move. And that's going to be up for you to assess that. I'm going to show you how to do it, and then you're going to pay attention to and notice the differences and the changes. So when we start this whole thing, we're going to overhead squat, essentially cold, right? And I know some of you, again, have worked out, like 20 minutes ago, right? So you're not as cold as people that haven't worked out yet today. But we're going to do that to start, get a baseline assessment of what does that feel like. And I want you to think about and feel, where's my lower half at? Where is my hips, my back, my shoulders? Where's some of the tightness, the restrictions, okay? And then we're going to go through a 9-step process of inhibit, of lengthen, and activate. So there's 3 steps on each muscle group: inhibit, lengthen, activate, okay? And we're going to assess each one. And then we're going to go back to that overhead squat again. And then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to do a different muscle group. Do it again and do it again. And we're going to go through this. And you're going to find your boulders, your big ahas of where you're at, and ultimately what's going to help you move easier. Okay? Sound good? All right. So, as I said, overhead squat, very important. So, that's how we're going to start this whole thing out. So, I want you to stand up if you're seated. All right. Again, this is your opportunity to assess your movement and where you're currently at right now prior to any of our foam rolling, any of our muscle tissue work. So, how I would do a foam roll, an overhead squat. Feet short distance apart, right? I'm going to extend my arms up overhead, okay? I'm going to back up so you can see my arms a little bit here, right? And I'm going to externally rotate back my thumbs, right? So I'm going to open up across the chest and the shoulders. I'm going to open that up. So I'm going to externally rotate, arms straight up, feet short distance apart. I'm going to sit it back into my squat position. Keep my arms up, keep tension on those shoulders, and then stand up, okay? Now, do 4 more of those, nice even pace, and I want you to feel and assess what's going on right now. Where are you feeling tightness? Maybe where are you feeling pain right now? I don't know. What's going on for you? I got 1 more. I'm really trying to fight to keep my hands up above my head as long as I can. So for me, I felt tightness in my shoulders, front side. I felt tightness back side of shoulder. I felt tightness in the hips, felt some tightness in the calves, right? Those are ones that just kind of jumped out at me initially, okay? So, and you probably felt similar areas, right? It's very common. Those are common areas. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go through and we're gonna start at the bottom. We're gonna start with the ground floor, which is your foot. And that's where we're gonna start our process. So I got shoes on, I'm gonna take my shoes off, okay? In fact, I'm gonna leave my shoes off the whole time here. You can certainly be barefoot too if you like. Now, I have a ball, right? I got a ball underneath my foot. If you don't have a ball, but you have a foam roller, this can work. It's just not gonna get in there as much. It's not gonna dig in as much as I personally want to. but you can use it as a tool. So we're going to go through the inhibit part right now. So what that's going to be, the inhibit side of this assessment is going to be basically the foam roller or the ball, right? Then we're going to go through a lengthening, which is kind of a stretching process. And then we're going to go through an activation movement sequence. Okay, so how I'd roll my foot out. And certainly if you need, you know, a wall or something to hang on to, use that. It's not about balance right now. It's about you getting to where you need to be and working through these tight areas. So I'm going to kind of just start with light pressure on my foot pressing into that ball, okay? And I'm just kind of working up and down between the ball of my foot and the heel, okay? Then I'm also going to kind of work on the inside of the arch. If you can turn your cameras on, if they're off, I would appreciate that. Then I can see if you're doing this foam rolling sequence right. Not so much this one as much, but the later ones. So if you have a ability to turn your camera on, please do that. Anyway, so as I kind of work up and down, you can kind of feel how much pressure feels good or doesn't feel good, right? Some of you are like, whoa, that is way too intense, right? Some of you are like, okay, I can push a little harder, right? So you got to control how much. I'll just say this. I don't want you wincing right now. I don't want you in severe pain right now. That's not necessarily the goal of this. You should feel it. It should kind of feel good in a way, okay? But I'm not trying to get you to tense up and tighten up, okay? So you got to control that amount of pressure. So once I've kind of gone up and down there for about a minute, kind of working inside, outside, front to back, then I'm going to kind of find that midfoot. I'm going to drop that heel, and I'm going to press down. Now I've done a fair amount of this, so I can push down pretty hard, right? And it doesn't kill me. But if you've never done this before, you're feeling it, right? So watch how much you're pressing down, back it off a little bit. Again, I'm not looking for something painful, super crazy high intensity right now, okay? If you feel okay, go deeper, which means that I'm going to put the ball closer to my heel, and I'm going to try it again. The further you go back, generally the more sensitive it is. Okay, so my heel is on the ground. I'm pressing into the ball with my body weight. Okay, now let's just kind of loosely loosen it up and roll again real quick. Just kind of redistribute blood flow a little bit. All right, okay, same thing other side. So again, I'm on my left foot now. And I'm just kind of finding those spots, right? Every time you roll, it's kind of a mission to search and destroy. You're looking for tightness, tenderness, right? You want to find these spots so you can work through them, improve them. So I got a nice spot right there, right? So I want to work around that. Tenderness tells you that that area needs attention. That is important, right? Again, I'm not trying to just hammer it and trying to create a ton of pain. That's not my goal here, but I am trying to get enough pressure that it's doing something, it's working, okay? And if you got flat feet or high arches or something going on your feet, you know how much foot issues potentially can impact you as far as not only just how you exercise, but how you move. I mean, if your foot's out of whack, man, you're not too happy camper, I'll tell you that. I've luckily haven't had a lot of foot issues, but I've had a little bit, and a little bit I've had. It impacted how I did everything in life. I mean, I need my body for my business, what I do, right? So it was super impactful. I know Sue had plantar fasciitis, right? And she can tell you how much that sucked, right? This is gonna help with plantar fasciitis. This is gonna help with foot issues. Okay, now I'm pressing down. Got a midfoot there, driving into it. Again, I've done this before, so I can put a fair amount of pressure. If you haven't, this is too much, back it down a little bit. And if you're gritting your teeth, you can't really hold a straight face, then you're probably a little bit too pressure. Okay, I'm gonna go back a little deeper. Again, I'm gonna press down. Just kind of finding a couple spots. All right, good. And then just kind of roll it out quick again. All right, so that's kind of the inhibit part of our foot. All right, so now we're going to splay the toes. So I am going to spread my toes out as far as I can and set them down. Then I'll lift up, spread them out as far as I can and set them down. Lift up, far as I can, set them down. So I'm trying to splay out the toes. Splay out the toes. I'm just doing one at a time here so I can keep my balance. Just raising and splaying. Right? I'm trying to lengthen through that foot as much as I can. Good. And then I'm just doing the same thing on our side. Spread those toes out. Just trying to think of creating as many muscle movements as I can in my foot. So this is kind of that lengthen aspect. Splay the toes out. Okay, now we're going to go to the activate, which is the pebble pickup. So imagine you got a pebble on the ground, right? You're going to drag your toes back and pick it up. And then lengthen it back out, splay it back out, and then drag those toes back, pick it back up. Splay it out, drag it back. Good. So you can feel that activation now. So now we're in the activate. Okay, now let's switch, other side. Splay it out, drag it back. Splay it out, drag it back. Hopefully you guys can see this pretty good and clear on your screens. Those toes back. One more time. Good. All right, beautiful. Okay, so that is the foot portion of our assessment. All right, now we're going to see how much that makes a difference for you. We're going to go back to our overhead squat. We're going to do 5 overhead squats. And I want you to pay attention to how these 5 feel in comparison to the first 5, right? For me, I know this is going to impact me in a positive way. I'm going to feel better. Let's find out how much better. All right, here we go. Arms up. Roll your thumbs back. Open up your chest. Feet shoulders apart. Drop into your squat. First one, I can tell I can go deeper. Instantly, I can feel better, right? I don't feel as much tightness in my calf. And to me, like, I'm always surprised how much that feels better, right? How many people, give me a thumbs up, how many people felt better just by rolling their feet out through their overhead squat? Good. And I'll ask you later on when we finish this out, like what had the most impact for you. So kind of pay attention. This is your opportunity to, again, find those boulders, find those big things that are making the most impact. But for the feet, if you don't attend your feet, that may have been a big one for you, okay? So working from the foot to the calf. Go to the roller. Okay, so this is a little bit different technique. I'm gonna break this down into 3 spots. So hopefully you can see this. I have kind of the really meatier part of the calf here, right? Then I'm gonna break it down kind of mid between that. And then I'll break it down to just above off the Achilles. So here's how we're gonna do this. We're going to elevate. Now, it's your choice. And again, depending on how sensitive this is for you, you may want to stack the leg on top or you may not. Okay, you can keep that leg off. But we're gonna elevate, all right? And then we're gonna rotate side to side. So I'm gonna stay right on that meaty part of the calf and I'm gonna rotate left to right. You can keep your hips down too if you don't want to elevate your hips. Just drive into the roller with that calf. You're gonna find little ridges potentially in there. I'm just rotating left to right, right on that thickest part of the calf. Right? You probably feel little nodules, little spots in there. Okay. Then, once I've done that for 45 seconds, a minute, go down to kind of middle between that and your Achilles and do the same thing. Again, driving down into it. I'm not going up and down, I'm just rotating left to right here. Sometimes there's a spot there. Again, if there's not much sensitivity, you're not really feeling much, stack the leg on top of the other leg. You're gonna increase that. Elevate your hips, that'll increase it too as well. It just puts more weight into it. Okay, then Achilles, or just off it. And now I'm going to work that back and forth. If your arms are getting tired, right, you can kind of lean forward a little bit. Otherwise, just keep the hips down. All right, then we're going to kind of flush it. So then we're going to kind of work that whole area in and out, up and down. So now we're going to roll it and kind of flush the area. Okay, so do the best you can to do that. You got to move around a little bit. That's fine. Just kind of get that whole area we covered. Okay, so now let's do the other calf. Start the meaty part of the calf. Again, I'm going to stack my leg on top of your leg, right? And I'm going to rotate left to right. I can instantly tell my left calf has more sensitivity, more restriction. And, you know, that sensitivity is telling me that right now. So, you know, in that case, I may want to back down how much I'm pressing into this thing, right? Now, this is not the only technique and way to roll out your calves. I'm just showing you a way from an assessment standpoint, how I would potentially take a first train client through. All right, midpoint. So kind of halfway between. For me, it gets a little more, generally a little less sensitive as they go down towards the heel. Okay, and then right there. And then we're going to go all the way to the bottom. Now for me, I definitely feel more sensitivity down by the Achilles on the left side than my right. Again, these are things you want to pay attention to, right? Discover where your areas are at, where your consistencies are, where your tightness is constant. All right, 3 more seconds, 2, 1. Again, I'm going a little faster through this just time-wise, right? You can certainly spend more time on this. I'm going to flush. The whole area. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, let's check it out. All right, so we did the inhibit part. So downward dog would be the lengthening, right? So plank position, downward dog. You can pedal or hold both down at the same time, whatever your preference is. So this is the lengthening aspect. Makes sense? We did a good stretch here. 2 more seconds. And then come back up. Okay, so now we did the lengthening aspect. Now we're going to do the activation. So we're going to do some heel lifts or calf raises. So we're just going up and down, up and down. Activating and firing, up and down. Trying to let my heels touch the ground, keep them off. Good activation here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so we inhibited, we lengthened, we activate. Let's try it again. Let's go through our overhead squat. Let's see if there's much change on this one. See if this is one of your boulders. So arms up, rotate thumbs back, open your chest and shoulders, sink your hips. 3, 2, 1, 5 reps. 5. Good. So I felt improvement. Was it probably my biggest boulder? No, not for me personally. I think my feet was more of a change, but I know my calves get tight. So that doesn't mean that it's always the case. Sometimes it's just how I am today because I warmed up and I did a workout earlier. But if I was cold coming into this, maybe I'd feel it more. Okay. So, but regardless, there was improvement in my squat, especially my depth, from increasing mobility and pliability in my calves. Okay. So again, assess yourself. All right. So this one is sometimes surprising for people, the adductor. okay? Inner thigh. All right, so that's where we're going next. So we're gonna get on the ground again. All right, so you got to kind of get splayed out here a little bit. I'm gonna kind of get onto my forearm here. And so I'm gonna be kind of rolling, I would say probably a few inches off the knee, just above the knee, to covering probably about 8 to 10 inch squat, okay? So I'm gonna get into that area. I'm doing my right side and just putting down pressure into this as I kind of roll in and out from the hip to the knee. All right, I'm not trying to necessarily turn that leg over because I'm not trying to hit the quad. I'm trying to stay inner thigh here. Depending on your roller, depending on your sensitivity, this may be like, whoa, right? Could be really sensitive. So respect that. Don't go too crazy. Again, if you're clenching your teeth and it's painful, back it down a little bit. Okay. All right, so let's switch to the other side. So I'm doing my left now. Again, kind of just off the knee, just above the knee. And work it towards the hip. It's not uncommon to start seeing some commonality here, like, oh, my left side's always more sensitive. That's pretty normal for most people. Well, not necessarily left side, but just the same side. I feel a little bit more sensitivity down by the knee than I do necessarily towards the groin. But if I push hard enough or I dig a little deeper, I'm gonna find it pretty much all throughout that area. All right. So now that we've done that, we're gonna do a half, kind of a kneeling adductor stretch. So I got my mat here. Okay. So I'm gonna kneel. Since I rolled my right side first, I'm gonna do my right side stretch first. So I'm gonna get into that kneeling position and I'm gonna turn. So my foot's flat. I'm gonna attempt to turn it open. And then if I want increased stretch, I sink the hip. It's right there. If you want more stretch, I bring this left leg out further. For me, I'm feeling it enough. So you kind of decide how much more you need to move away and sink down to get the stretch you need in that adductor. Ladies usually a little more flexible than the guys. All right, so as I come out of this, I'm gonna turn my foot down and then just turn away, right? So just kind of gently coming out of that. Okay, same thing. So a little tighter on this side for me. Make the adjustments to what you need. A few more seconds here. All right, good. Okay, and then just kind of turn in and bring it back. Okay, now I'm gonna do just a basic hip press. Okay. But I'm going to squeeze onto a ball. Now, if you got a ball, right, or a foam roller, actually, maybe this is a good idea. Let's do this. Put your foam roller between your knees. Okay. Let's lift and squeeze. So we're gonna hold this. So you're gonna lift up and squeeze onto the foam roller. Think about activating those adductors we just stretched. Squeeze onto the foam roller, squeeze the glutes, fire into the sky. So 2 things you're working on here. Squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release. Very nice. All right, we've gone through the activation portion of that. Now we're moving on to our overhead squat. Time for assessment again. So we've done feet, we've done calves, just did adductors. All right, let's set up. Arms up, rotate back, chest up, sit it back. 3, 2, 1, 5 reps. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. I noticed that when I try to sink deeper in the first couple, I felt a little something in the right knee at the bottom. That went away when I did my adductors, right? That's the things I want you to kind of assess for yourself. Like, oh, I felt that, now I don't feel that anymore, right? Where are the changes for you? Okay, hips, glutes. All right, so this is probably the most common one I see people do. And honestly, I don't know if it's always purely because it needs to be the most, or it's just the lazy way out of foam rolling. if we're being honest, right? And so it's just, okay, sit on it, and I can sit on it and I can talk to people or whatever, right? So, but I'm gonna show you some techniques to increase it and get more out of it. So, we always do one side at a time, right? Now, this here may be where you're at, right? You got, you know, I'm doing my left side, so my left leg is straight. My right leg is kind of helping me push up and down, right? Notice I'm angled off to the side. I described the area I'm trying to cover like the back of your jeans, the pants pocket on the back of your jeans. That's the area you want to cover. Think of that area. So it's a little more on the outside, a little higher up, kind of, okay? So that's the area I want to cover here, right? Now, for me, this is not enough. I'm not getting anything out of this, right? So I am going to, step 1, cross that leg over. So I got my left ankle over my right knee, okay? So that's level 1. And for some of you, that's plenty. Like you just noticed that. Again, if your left leg is crossed, you're working your left glute, because sometimes that's confused. People confuse that, right? So don't be doing your right glute when your left leg is crossed. Okay, I'm trying to lengthen through this side. All right, so if that's still not enough, you're gonna grab that knee and you're gonna pull it in tight towards your right shoulder. Right, so you're lengthening, drawing it across diagonally towards that shoulder, and you're gonna hit that spot. You're gonna find that spot that feels the most sensitive for you. I saw some facial changes when we did that there. Right? This is definitely a different level than level 1 for some of you, because it is, again, opening up. It's like creating more space for you to get in there and dig. Again, if this is too intense, don't go here. I'm not trying to show you the most intensive version, so that's what you're doing if it's too much. Back it off, find your level. I'm just showing you variation. So if you do need something a little bit more, you have that. Or if you do this on a regular basis, you progress and you need more. All right, so that's pretty good. I got that spot, again, right there. That's where I'm looking at. All right, now moving into the opposite side. So again, decide where you need to be. And each side's a little bit different, right? So maybe this side is more sensitive. It's not uncommon for that to change. Pull it across. So my right knee, I'm pulling it towards, I'm high and tight and towards my left shoulder. All right, so a few more seconds here and then we're gonna switch to our stretching. Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty good. So we can attack this a couple different ways, but I'm gonna attack it this way. So I'm gonna do a cross-legged seated position here. So for me, my right hip, right, posterior side especially, is tighter than my left. So by automatic, I'm just gonna default, when I do this, I'm gonna cross my right over my left, not even thinking about it. That's just how I do it, right? Because that's my tight side, so I'm trying to protect that side a little bit. But in the same token, in this stretch, I can really get a strong stretch on both sides regardless. So crossing it, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna diagonally reach. So if I wanna stretch my right, I'm gonna reach diagonally to my left, okay? Try to hold this side down, hold this glute down, right? As you reach, and hopefully feel a little lengthening stretch kind of out of part where we're kind of ready to film it. Okay, so I'm gonna reach and reach, especially when I reach that right hand. I feel it always that right side. A little millimeter you can get, reach for it, while still keeping those hips down on the ground. Okay, once I've done that for a few more seconds, then I'm just gonna walk to the opposite side. And for me, it's definitely not the same on this side. I feel a little bit of stretch, but not nearly as much as I do on the other side. Three, 2, and 1. Okay, come back up. All right, here's our activate. Single leg balance reach. So right leg is going to be down, left leg is going to come up in the air, left hand's going to touch my foot. So get your steadiness, get your balance. I'm going to hinge, left hand goes to right toe, and come back up. I'm going to do 5 on each side. Light toe touch with that left toe. I'm trying, I got a slightly softened knee on my right leg, so I'm not locked out. I'm trying to activate that glute, fire that glute. Try to keep your chest up, back flat. And one more on this side. Good. Balance is a whole different ballgame when you do barefoot. All right, other side. Just do the best you can. Think about activating, firing the glute. One more for me. Good, and come back up. All right, so we've completed our activation. Here we go. Red squat, arms up, rotate back. 3, 2, 1, begin. I know this one was a big one for some of you. Good. So what I notice is it's almost like my lower half disappeared. Like I don't feel restriction in my lower half anymore, right? I still feel my upper body. I still feel my shoulders, my back, but I've lost that in my lower half, right? So I'm moving freer, right? Okay, so we've done feet, calves, adductors, hips, spine, okay? So we're gonna work on the back. So this is always a big one for some people. All right, so we're gonna put the roller kind of right at the base of the rib cage, okay? So do not do your lower back. I'm not talking about lower back right now, okay? I'm talking more where your bottom of your rib cage is. That's kind of where I want it, okay? My feet are on the floor, my knees are bent. I personally like to take my hands behind my head and support my neck. That's where I go with it, but if you have a different place to put it, hands on the floor, whatever, that's fine. So I'm going to put my hands here. I'm going to elevate my hips, and I'm gonna roll up to my shoulder blades, not onto my neck, but on my shoulder blades. And I'm gonna roll up and down that spot. Once I get to the bottom of the rib cage, I stop and I come back up. Okay. This is known as the erector spinae. It runs up and down your spine, these muscles, each side. I'm just staying right in the middle here. Some of you'll notice spots in between your shoulder blades as well too. And certainly you can stop on those as well and work those. I'm just kind of moving here generally. Now, once I've done that for a minute or so, then I'm gonna do a little wrapping technique here. And so I'm gonna drop my hips. I'm gonna place it kind of right into my shoulder blades. I'm gonna take my elbows in a little bit tighter and I'm gonna reach back. Hips are still on the ground. And just breathe. Now, if that's not bad, I feel like I can go a little deeper. I'll come back up. I'll go one notch down. I'll do it again. And open up. I'm just putting more demands, more mobility demands on my spine. And you can go deeper too if you want. It's just kind of go to what feels right for you. You're not necessarily trying to get your head to the floor. You're just trying to reach back. And then just kind of flush it. Just kind of go up and down again. Okay. So once we've kind of gone through that, now we're going to go through the length. Yeah, get this out of the way so you can see. Go through the lengthening part. All right, so we're going to do a bow and arrow. Okay. So I'm going to lay down, knees together. Okay. Arm. So I'm on my right side. My right arm is out to the side of me here. I'm going to take my left arm, I'm going to put it right on top. Okay. Keep your knees together, and then you're going to open up. Reach back. Bring your backhand to the floor, and then bring it back. Try to kind of keep your head down. Think of separation. You're separating your hips from your back. You're rotating the upper half while stationary holding the lower half. Just kind of go back and forth, nice and easy at your pace here. This is the lying bow and arrow stretch. All right, so flip. Let's do the other side. Other side. Again, same thing. Knees together and open. Oh yeah, more tightness for me on that side. I can feel it instantly. Keep that hand down. Keep those knees together. Oh yeah. This feels good for me. I like this. Go one more. Okay. All right, here we go. Cat cow. Let's get our movement. Activate part here. So get your shoulders over your wrists. Knees underneath your hips. Right. Gonna inhale, lift that head up, drop that belly button down, create that arch, or sorry, that kind of that bowl shape in your back, right? And then you're going to reverse to the opposite, drop the chin. Now raise the spine to the sky, tuck that tailbone underneath, and inhale up. And exhale. Try to think about each individual vertebrae moving. Inhale. And exhale. This is why yoga is so important, right? We do a lot of this in yoga. It helps us move. One more time. And exhale. All right, beautiful. Just kind of shake it out. Okay. Here we go. Overhead squat, 5 of them. Set it up. See if this is a boulder for you. 3, 2, 1, arms up, and begin. I'm starting to be deeper in my squats, even more so. I'm feeling less restriction. Less restriction. Again, for me, every step feels better, but I would say so far the feet has been the biggest one for me so far, but every one has helped me improve. Now, I know I've done this before myself, so I know this next one is going to be a big one for me personally. There you go, lats. So most people have rolled on their back. Not a lot of people have done their lats before. Or if you have, you quickly got off it. So be careful with this one. There is some sensitivity here. I'll start with my left. All right, so your lat one's right here. All right, this is your lat. It's actually a large muscle group in your back. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do a ton of up and down here. I'm not going to be going crazy all around this, right? For somebody that's going to be just way too much. What I am going to do is I'm going to pin a spot. I'm going to find a spot. There's kind of a, if you kind of reach, right? Get your hand over your head like I got here, right? Some lengthening through that. You can kind of feel that shoulder blade kind of come in, right? It's kind of right there. So that's kind of like the insertion point that kind of comes down to the area. I'm going to kind of pin that spot. Once I've kind of pinned that spot, so I'm right in there, then I'm going to do kind of a sweeping technique, right? So I'm kind of sweeping back and forth. You can kind of turn your hands open if you want. Just kind of alternate sides. Now I can certainly, go a little deeper, change the angle slightly. That's the kind of area that will start to open it up so you can get overhead a little bit more. Try to do as much movement as you can here. How big a motion can you go with that arm? Sweeping it. For some of you, this is really painful. For some of you, maybe not so bad. I don't know. You'll know for yourself. All right. So once I've kind of done that, I'm just going to stay right on that spot. Just kind of pin it down. Arm out. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I want to do the other side. So I'm going to flip. Again, I want to find that spot. Now this is my right side. I'm right side dominant. So I know this is going to be a more sensitive side. Right? I have left side lower dominance, right side upper dominance. Okay. So I found the spot. I'm going to start that sweep. Oh. Yeah, there it is right there. Just trying to breathe through it. Right? I don't want to clench up. I want to try to relax. Let this roller, let this movement do its process. Sweeping back and forth. Back and forth. Certainly a softer roller is going to make a huge difference in movements like this where you're really staying in one spot. Firmer rollers are going to be much more sensitive. All right, and then I'm gonna go palm up on this one. So I'm gonna palm up, extend out. I'm gonna just slight external, rotate back just a little bit. I'm just gonna pin it. I'm gonna stay right on that spot. Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's come off that. All right. We're gonna do a kneeling lat stretch here. So, palms up together. Okay. You can kneel back onto your heels, or you can stay upright, depending on how your knees like that. And I'm just gonna reach, kick out the hip, arms nice and long, elongate. Let your wrist get long, and slowly bring it back up, switch, reach, kick the hip out, lengthen. 3, 2, and 1. I just kind of shake that out. Okay, all right. So our movement, our activation is a squat to roll here. So imaginary weights or band maybe we're hanging on to, right? So we're basically just good squat position, pull back. I'm not really working on squat depth, just open up. Pull it back. Pull it back. Enough where you can feel those lats activate right there. Pull it back. Pull it back. Pull it back. Couple more. Pull it back. Pull it back. Okay. And just kind of shake that out. All right, here we go. I know this one is a big boulder for me personally. When I do my lats, I feel better. All right, arms up, rotate back, thumbs back, 3, 2, 1. Boom, right there. Instantly, I feel a difference. A lot of that restriction went away. I feel much better. I don't feel like I'm falling forward quite as much. All right, huge difference for me personally. That's a boulder. So for me, feet, lats so far have had the most impact. Okay, this is another one that does, for me personally, have impact. It's going to be chest. So we're going to kind of work on the pec complex, but it's going to be kind of anterior shoulder and pec, kind of that area together, right? So you're not going to be here. You're going to be more like right in here, okay? So this is the area we're going to be, okay? So we're going to lay on our stomach and get that arm splayed out. So kind of it's just a flip over version of the lat a little bit. Okay, so I'll start with my right. I'm gonna get onto my stomach here. I'll get back so you can see a little better maybe. Okay, I'll get that roller in position. Okay, and I'm gonna just kind of sink down, right? I don't want to be like necessarily like elbow up high. I want to kind of bring that elbow down a little bit. And I'm just gonna shift in just a hair, right about there. And I'm gonna do that same kind of, maybe like a hovering motion, maybe versus sweeping. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I got that same kind of movement going and pin that spot. I'm trying to keep my elbow down. I'm not trying to turn open necessarily a whole lot and turn it up. I'm trying to keep the elbow down and just kind of hovering. And hover. You can kind of, play with the spot where you're feeling like it's having the most impact for you. All right, so let's switch. Other side. There we go. Actually, I feel a little more tenderness on this side this morning. And my left pec. All right, where the pec and the shoulder come together. Do your best to get in that spot. Find it. Think of how much sitting we're doing nowadays. How much collapsing in this area, tightening this area up we are. I can imagine some of you are feeling some major sensitivity right now, getting into that area. Just almost done here. Okay, so going through that, we're gonna come up. We're gonna switch to our stretch. So you can use a wall for this one. I'll kind of just demo so you can kind of see it. Imagine my wall is right here, okay? You can see my TRX strap I'm hanging on to. And then you're gonna kind of put your hand on the wall and then turn away. So again, you're lengthening through that side, right? So find a wall, put your hand on it, and then turn away from it. A corner of the wall is probably the easiest if you have one. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of demo with this strap here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Just turn away, lengthen and open up through that pec area, shoulder area. 3, 2, 1, switch sides, go to the opposite, I'll do it this way so you can see. Feel that stretch. 3, 2, 1. Good. All right, just kind of shake that out. All right, plank is our activation strategy. So standard high plank, up on our hands. Now, I want you to think about kind of squeezing your pucks together. You're not going to move your hands, but you are going to kind of draw your elbows in tighter to your rib cage, right? Think about squeeze the area that we just kind of activated, lengthened, inhibit, lengthened, right? Think about activating that by kind of squeezing that together a little bit, right? Try to think about using those muscles. All right, here we go. I'm just going to do a quick 30-second hold here. Find a good plank position. So I'm kind of pulling my fingertips towards each other. Elbows, kind of pulling my elbows into my rib cage a little bit. Not touching, I'm just activating the muscles that would do it. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, shake it out. All right, we've activated. Let's go. Up on our feet. This is number 8. Reach up. Boom. Sit it back. There we go. Felt another big shift for me right there, personally. Right, I'm keeping my arms up taller, longer. Right, I'm not feeling like I'm falling forward as much. So I'm losing some of that restriction across that tightness. Right. All right. So this is our last area we're going to hit, and it's going to be neck extensors. Okay. So I'll show you how to do that on a roller. Okay. Now, neck is generally tight for like everybody. All right, so I'm going to put the roller kind of between that, there's that bone, right? Kind of right between your shoulder blades there, right where your kind of your neck and your shoulder blades come together is that bone right there. Then I got the base of my skull. I'm trying to kind of fit the roller right into that area, right into that pocket between the base of my skull and that bone, okay? And again, where you feel the, the sensitivity, the tenderness that helps you, find it, work it. All right, now I'm just gonna kind of turn left or right here. All right, you can kind of play with your chin too, you can drop it if you like. Just kind of go back and forth. You're pressing down into the roller, right? I feel a little more on my right side right now, so I'm just gonna spend a few seconds on that side. Right, there's those extenders, there's like, 2 big muscles that can run ladder vertically on each side of your neck there. You can feel those 2 spots up into your skull. All right. A few more seconds. Okay, good. All right, so just kind of, however you need to, sit up or roll over. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to lightly grab the back of my head, kind of back corner of my head. And I'm going to just gently pull my chin down and kind of ear towards my shoulder. So I'm kind of diagonally pulling it. I'm trying to lengthen this right side here. Again, gently, don't try, but consistent. If you're tighter, you'll feel this kind of go into your shoulder blades. Very gentle here. Good. And then just slowly release it and switch to the opposite side. Keep breathing. All right, and then slowly release that. Okay. All right, now this last one is a little different. It's a chin tuck. And I want you to think about, imagine there is like water, like right underneath your nose, and you're trying to keep your nose out of the water. Okay, it's kind of an interesting visual. But you're going to push your chin straight back, right? So it's like your whole head is shifting back, but you're keeping it level, right? Like imagine that water is right underneath your nose. And if you drop your chin, your nose is gonna go in the water. So keep your head level and then just push your chin back, like back into your head. And you may feel a stretch at the base of your skull, right? It's a little weird at first, but just give it a try. You can release it, go back in, just pushing that chin straight back. Again, you know, you're doing something if you're feeling that stretch at the base of the skull, back of the neck. One more. Okay, I was just holding it for a couple seconds and releasing it, and then just kind of shake the head out a little bit. All right, we're into our final 5 overhead squats. Let's see how the neck is for you and how that helps you move. Arms up, rotate thumbs back, open the chest, open the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, arms nice and long. Look at that. I'm dropping at least 4 inches deeper. I feel like I can stay upright pretty dang good, much better than I was. I mean, it's not like 100% gone, but it's definitely 85% better for me. Like there's a lot of movement that feels a lot easier for me through that. Now, if I did that cold with no workout, like I did our sweat class prior to this, right? I'd have felt even more dramatic shifts, but I felt a lot better on that. So again, the goal of this workshop is to teach you tools, right? But also to get you to understand what are your boulders? What are your big areas that have the most impact? You may not have an hour to go through this assessment, right? Because it took us an hour to do this. But you may have 10 to 15 minutes and you can hit the 2 to 3 things that have the most impact for you, right? So think about those. Think about how you can utilize those in your regular fitness training, right? Fitness is not about always being bigger, faster, stronger. To me, it's all about movement. That is the first thing. If you can't move, you can't do anything, right? So when you're in pain, you know that better than anybody else, right? So this is trying to keep you moving, keep longevity. So you're staying ahead of the game. You're limiting the issues and you're mentally and physically strong. So I really hope that you guys took something from this. That was an opportunity for you to learn more about your body, yourself, and how you move, and how to increase mobility as from time to time we go through these things that give us a little more stuck, right? Especially nowadays, we're getting a lot of stuck in seated positions. So, and in general.